I'm going to go ahead and mute out. You
Yep,
guys should do the same unless you're
Me too.
We're live, guys. We are on air. So I'm going to wait just until my clock clicks to 10 before we get started. And there we go. Welcome, everyone, to the WebinarJam training. It's Friday, March 14th, and I am Donna Fox. I am the Marketing Genesis. I think my title was thrown out at one point, the Director of Awesomeness. Basically, I handle all of the customer experience after you become a customer. So once you join us and become part of our Marketing Genesis family, I'm the one who's sort of responsible for making sure you have a positive, pleasant experience. That means a number of things. It means that I handle support and I handle things in the members area. Basically, I'm here to try to make sure you are a happy, satisfied customer. So let me give you a little bit of history about me. I'll tell you a little bit about the rest of the people that are on this call, and we're going to jump right in. So prior to February 27th, and that's just 2 or 3 weeks ago now, WebinarJam support was done by the developers, and it was really for our beta test group. On February 28th, we went for a public launch, and I took on support on the same day. And we recognized that the last training that we had was kind of a disaster, and we've taken a lot of steps to make sure that that doesn't happen this time. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk through the creation of a WebinarJam session for you. We're going to cover not all the little nitty-gritty details because there's a tutorial that's there for you that you can watch at any time. But I'm going to highlight the questions that we're seeing coming over again and again in the customer support desk where things just don't make a whole lot of sense, or tiny little mistakes or tricks that people are making when they're creating a webinar. While I'm doing that, I want you to submit your questions in the box, and I can see questions coming in now, and it's exciting to see them all just pouring in as we're talking. Keep sending them. That's great. We are going to try to get to as many of them as we possibly can during the course of today's call, and I can already tell that we're not going to get to them all. So the ones that we aren't going to get to, I am saving, keeping to the side. We're making responses for you in the customer support area, and we'll, if we can't get to the question on this training, it'll be on next week's training. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is go to our presentation. Just show you how we can go here and screen share. I'm going to screen share this presentation that I have already set up. Now, one of our frequently asked questions is, how do you share a PowerPoint presentation, or how do you share a keynote presentation? Well, one of the things that it's important to remember is with streaming video, the less activity that goes on, the better. So if I'm moving around like this, well, you can't see me now anymore. If I'm moving around a lot on the camera has a hard time picking that up. The more still you stay, the clearer and sharper the picture is. It's the same when you're doing a PowerPoint presentation. So if you have a lot of fancy animations and bells and whistles, the viewer's experience isn't going to be as good because the streaming has difficulty keeping up with that. So what I do is I make a PDF out of the PowerPoint presentation or the keynote. This is great for a couple of reasons. One is that the PDF software to page through a PDF is so low on your computer's resources that you're not going to have any trouble at all displaying that image. So what I've done is I have that PDF open in my screen. It's about a quarter of the size of my whole screen, and I'm just, when I went to hit the screen share, I just chose to share that particular screen. So, and now you can see my mouse over it, so I can make circles with my mouse or do things with my mouse to let you know what I'm doing, and then I just use the page up and page down to go back and forth in the presentation. So here's page down. So the first question is, what's up with WebinarJam? What's going on? Well, we opened to the public about 90 days ago for our beta group. We didn't really promote it. We did some internal promotions, price testing promotions, that sort of thing. We brought on a number of people in December and January and early February. But we've gotten over 10,000 customers in total in the last 90 days. And over 4,400 of them came in on one day, March 8th. Now, previously, we had gotten support tickets, and we got about 100 support tickets a week before I took it on. That the developers were handling and answering all on their own. The day I took on support in WebinarJam, we got 4,400, or a week later we got 4,400 customers in one day. We used to get about 100 tickets a week. We get 250 tickets a day now. At one point during the launch on that March 8th day, we were getting about 50 pre-sale questions an hour. So when it comes to support, we recognize that you're not getting the most positive support experience, and I am dedicated to changing that. When I started and took on support, there was about me and 2 other people working part-time on answering your tickets. We now have a team of 12 people that have different levels of training. So we have some people that are just answering basic questions, and their job is to escalate the questions to people like the people that I have on this chat with me. You have the best of Marketing Genesis and WebinarJam on this chat with you right now for handling your WebinarJam questions. So please be patient with us. We know that there's an issue. We are committed to answering each and every support ticket that has been submitted. Just today, I learned that one of our developers has been closing tickets without answering them. I'm rectifying that situation. I'm dealing with it. All I ask is patience, because we can't throw untrained bodies into the problem. We experienced about 6 years worth of growth in 2 weeks. So thank you so much for your patience and your sweetness, and go easy on my customer support people, because they're doing their best. We're all working 10 and 12-hour days around the clock, giving up our weekends to help serve you better. So thank you very much for your patience with that. We're continually rolling out new features. Even as I was setting up this webinar, I learned that there was a feature that had been rolled out that I didn't even know about yesterday. So we're committed to continually upgrading and improving the WebinarJam system. Even since we've launched, 3 new features have been rolled out for you, and we have a continued plan of rolling out new things and new functionality. In addition, in our support desk, we're getting lots of feature requests, bug reports, and that's fantastic. Please keep submitting them, because you just help make us better, and when you make us better, we can be better for you and provide better service. So let me tell you a little bit about who we have on the call today. We've got Magic Dave, and Magic Dave prefers to stay silent in the background. He's probably even upset that I said his name. Magic Dave has been with Angie Jenkins for many, many years. He is kind of the go-to guy around here. If you need to get something done, Dave is the guy who can get it done or figure it out. We have Raul, and Raul is like the programming genius extraordinaire. If I want to geek out with codes and backslashes, it's Raul that I spend some time with. If we have a problem, he's like, okay, I'll just go in the background and fix it, and he does. The thing that I like about Raul, and you'll see this if you've had experience with him on the support desk, is he doesn't just say, oh, I can't do it. He says, I can't do it right now, let me figure out how. And that's why we love Raul, because he doesn't like not being able to do something. So he's the guy that's going to figure out a workaround, figure out a way to get something done if you're having troubles or issues trying to make WebinarJam do what you want it to. The other thing that I want to say about WebinarJam is it was designed by marketers to be a marketing platform. And perhaps it was short-sighted, or maybe it was just, you never expect how people are going to use a product when you create it. So you'd realize that if you notice the number of women that hammer in nails with their high-heeled shoes. People tend to use products not for what they were intended for. And they intended WebinarJam to be basically a promotional tool, not a training tool. We've realized that the market really wants it to be a training tool. So a lot of the features of trainings, like chats and interactivities that you're asking for, are things that we're just starting to figure out that you want, and learning and programming it into the system. So be patient with that. We really want to be the best webinar platform out there, and I think that for the price right now, we're doing a pretty good job, right? So the other person that we have on the line with us is Doc Stone, and Doc Stone is here because he has been training on technology like forever. He has more webinar training experience than probably anyone I know. He does several a week for Mike Filsame's Micromodel Business System and Profit Platform. He's a very, very experienced webinar trainer, and he'll be able to help you with any issues that are involved in running the software and providing a great experience for your customer. So that's where we're at. Now I'm going to go to a live demo, and live demos are always scary for presenters because you never know what happens. You have a little moment where your screen isn't working, where the internet goes away. It's always a very, very scary experience, so bear with me, and let's go to our live demo. So I'm going to share the screen again, and I'm going to share this. So here's what it looks like when you log into your WebinarJam. Here is the first screen that you see. It's a very quick video, quick tour of WebinarJam. There are 3 buttons on the right. Obviously, if you want to create a new webinar, where do you go? You go to the New Webinar button. When you click on the New Webinar button, and here is where my slow internet is starting to have an effect. It's taking a long time to load the page. There we go. So you click on my webinar button, and the first thing you see is a tutorial screen. Watch this tutorial. It's about 20 minutes or so long, or 10 minutes or so long. It'll walk you through overall how to configure a new webinar. And then you just start rolling down these screens. So let's go. Here's the first one. First thing I want you to notice is in the General tab, and in every tab, there is a Video Help section at the top corner where it says Video Help. Those have short videos that will pop up and tell you about this page. Now, this page is pretty simple. In fact, let me go here. I've created a webinar that we can use that is already filled out so we can see it, so you don't have to spend time watching me type. So here's the sample webinar, and I'm going to go Actions, Edit, and then back to General. So here's our sample webinar. So we've got our webinar name and descriptions. The things you need to know about this tab are these descriptions, 70 characters and 150 character descriptions on the webinar title and webinar description. Those character limits are very important. So if you notice on this webinar description, it says a max 150 characters. And that sentence that I have in there is about 86 to give you a rough estimate. So about 90 characters a line. So you want about 1.5 lines worth of text there. The reason why these characters are important is because of the templates that we have preloaded. The preloaded templates will start to break and appear differently or oddly if you exceed this character limitation. So just be aware of that. The next thing to know is when you schedule your webinar, you have 2 choices. You can schedule it for right now or schedule it for later. If you're doing a test webinar and you schedule it for right now, then you won't be able to do things like load a template or see a template page because it's not needed when you're doing a webinar right now. You really only need the webinar login page. So if you're playing around, make sure you schedule it for later. Notice that I've scheduled this webinar for 2016. So this the sample webinar will stay around for a long, long time. If you want to add multiple sessions, you can click the Add Another Session button. What that does is creates an option for someone to choose one session or another. It doesn't add multiple sessions as in a multiple session webinar training. Remember that that is one of the features that we're going to add soon, is to train for multiple sessions. And then when it comes to your presenters or administrators, the thing to notice here about this page is that these accounts have to be Gmail or at least Google accounts. So in order to be a presenter and in order to use Google Hangouts, you have to be linked up with your Google account. So here it is, and this is my Google account, and I was the super admin. Now, as the super admin, the person who's designated as the super admin, the webinar replay will upload to their YouTube account. So this is my super admin. It'll upload to my YouTube account, and it'll upload to the default channel, like the main default channel on my YouTube account. That can't be changed. That's a limitation of Google Hangouts. Now, notice all the admins. They also have to have Gmail addresses. Except, take a look at this one. Here's Raul. You know, this works too at marketinggenesis.com. That's not a Gmail address. No, but there is a Google account associated with it. So the easy answer is yes, you need a Gmail address. The more complex answer is, well, you really just need a G+ account and an email that's linked to the Google+ account. So you add in all of your admins and all of your presenters, and then you click this button in the lower right-hand corner, Save Module. So Save Module is extremely important at every step of the presentation. So the module saves, and this is again my internet strain from the number of people that are in this office on this session. So save module, and then go on to the next one, which is registration. Now, on this registration page, you're choosing your website design. You can click through and see which templates you want to choose. There are templates with photographs, there are templates without. There's even your own custom design template. So here are the mistakes that happen on this page. First, we want to create a template. We want to choose a template, so I just went ahead and chose this one. You must click this Load Template button. Even if you choose to create the custom page, kind of counterintuitive, you must click this Load Template button. If you don't click this Load Template button, you don't get the registration information that drops down. So, and that's different. Let's see if it works for this one. It's different depending on what design you choose. So if you choose, like notice this custom design, it's a very small required field, just your website URL and the fields you want your registration box. But if I choose this design, which was the first one that I had chosen, this design, and load it, we have different options down here. So click on the design, load it, and then fill out the options, and then click Save Module. You're done. The next screen, I probably should stop saving modules so you don't have to wait for me to save it. All right, successfully updated. So the next screen is the Pay to Register screen. Now we set it up as free. To charge to register, you simply hit this. What this does is it creates an additional page of the process. So your customer goes to a page, they see that the webinar is there, it's time to pay to register, and they go to a payment page first. Right now we have a drop-down with a few currencies. We will be adding more currencies. Unfortunately, we can't get rid of this right now. We've asked them to, if they could put in a negative value for this or something that doesn't display. For some reason in the programming, this is what we have available. But more currencies are being added. In fact, I think there are even more now than there were when we started 2 weeks ago. Then you put the price point in here. That's just for the template purposes. And in here, you link to your payment checkout page. Now, there are some people that are having confusion about this, specifically when it comes to PayPal. They're creating a PayPal button to be able to pay for their presentation, but they're putting the code from the entire button into this checkout link. You actually need just the checkout link, the link that will bring someone directly to the order page. So test your link out in a browser window. If it brings you to an order page in PayPal or an order page in your shopping cart, that's the link that you want to put in this box right here. And then there's a registration page URL so that after someone pays, they can go to the post-payment page URL and they can register and pay. So save the module then if you want it to be a pay to register, and move on to the next thing. And then notice here, there's video help again at the top of every screen. Here's our notification page. You have the option to use the built-in system or use your own SMTP email server. These are set up with the built-in system. You have a choice of sending a welcome email and a last-minute starting soon email. And then notice you can queue up some pre-webinar notifications. So you have the option of adding all the notifications that you want to go out pre-webinar, and you can send them out a few hours before the webinar. There are some short codes in here. We have a feature request to add the short code of a name, and we are working on that. So that's on its way. There's also a mobile phone notification option. We use a service, or we integrate with a service called Tropo, and some people are asking for other notification services, and we're also working on additional integrations. In fact, integrations is a big area where we're working on getting some more seamless integrations with other items. So here on the Integrations tab, we have email autoresponder integration, and this is about adding registrants to your mailing list at the same time that they're registering for the webinar. Now, people aren't really having any issues with this, so I'm kind of going to just gloss over this because we don't really need to demonstrate it. You just click on it, you add in, you drop in your autoresponder form code in there. It's really very simple. The only question people are asking about here is whether we can have registration forms that include more than name or email. The only way to do that right now is to, even if you may be up here with your autoresponder service, drop down to Other, and you can fill in your autoresponder custom HTML form. This passes the information from your autoresponder service back to us for the purpose of registration. And what that does is it allows you to add the name of the autoresponders in here so people can register both to your autoresponder company with as many fields as you want, and also register for the email. So we're cruising right along. Remember, we're just covering the issues that people are having, or the confusion that people are having with creating a webinar. On the thank you page, you can display a custom video or display a text message. Notice this little button here, allowed video formats. Really important that the video format that you upload for your custom video is within the allowable video formats. There's a countdown, obviously. No one is asking questions about the countdown. Lots of people are asking questions about the live room. So in the live room, you have an option to enable pre-configured offers. Pre-configured offer is a button that will appear in your sidebar to let you do things like add to cart for sales, but also things like get started or show me more. One of the things that people are asking about is how to send a PDF, how to send people to a PDF. I'm going to show you that because I have one of those pre-configured in today's chart. But I will show you that a little bit later. You can also enable pre-recorded video presentations. So when you enable a pre-recorded video presentation, it also has to be in that allowed video format. So be sure to click on this button to see the video format that's allowed. Virtually all of the pre-recorded video presentation issues that we've had on the support desk have been people that have tried to use video formats that aren't allowed. So that's it for that one. There's replay. Here's an interesting, great little replay element that we've added that wasn't here even 2 days ago. So you can go to the actual replay of the recorded session or a pre-recorded video of your choice. So if you have a webinar training that you've done that's really great and perfect, you can switch out the actual replay with a pre-recorded one, or you can even switch it out after the event with a replay of the event that you've downloaded, edited, and put back up later. This is what's new right here, the replay session privacy status. We now have the option to keep the video private when it's automatically uploaded to your YouTube channel. That means just by clicking this button, keep replay video private, you don't have to do anything else to secure the privacy of your replay. If you make it public, then it will automatically go to your YouTube channel and people can find it there and it'll appear in YouTube searches. So that's important to note. And that's all people are having issues with on this. Our number one question about the miscellanea link is whether or not you can remove the Powered by WebinarJam logo that's displayed in the footer of your webinar pages. You cannot, however, you can make it work for you. If you click on this button, you're allowed to insert your Deal Guardian affiliate ID, just the affiliate ID, and then the Powered by WebinarJam logo will start making money. If people click on it, it opens in a separate window. They decide they also want to do webinars like this, and you can make money through that link. Here's the final thing that people are having trouble with when it comes to setting up a webinar, and it's this Publish the Webinar button. After every change you do, if you even go in and change a date, change a time, you have to hit Publish the Webinar. So a lot of people are saying, oh, I went and changed my time, but the registration pages are still showing the old time. I'd bet you dollars to donuts you haven't hit Publish the Webinar. When you hit Publish the Webinar, it puts all the changes out there. You can't publish a webinar too often. Even if you're only halfway through your webinar creation, go ahead and publish it because it's just putting a WebinarJam page out there. It's not something that anyone is going to find. So if it's not ready, you don't have your description, you don't have the right picture, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and click Publish so that it's out there. And just get in the habit of clicking Publish often. So once you've done your webinar, and now the webinar configuration is completely done, you go up to My Webinars. This is the greatest question that we have about during the webinar time, as my screen opens, which is how do you get your links? Well, here's that sample webinar we were working on. Here's how we get our links, but before I click that button, I want to show you a couple of things. See this action step right here? You can edit, clone it, or delete it. If you clone it, it will create another session exactly set up the way that you've already set up, and all you have to do is change the time. So it's a really easy way for you to schedule multiple or repeating sessions right now is with this clone button here. But let's click the Get Your Links and see what the links look like. There we go. So here are the links, and this is probably the most hidden but helpful video that's part of the training. The video helped the webinar room. You have to go in to get your links to see it. But this video that talks about the links is very detailed, and it tells you pretty much everything you need. One thing you need to remember is that when you log in as super admin, you have to use this super admin link. If you don't use the super admin link, then it's not going to show up on, you're not going to have all the functions of an admin when you go into your webinar. And use the super admin link when you log in. There are also various links. Right down here, there is a link that is Advanced Custom Registration Hot Link. This is the link that you will use to create one-click registration in your email. So if you send an email out to your already existing mailing list, you can have the option of just having them click a link, and they don't have to enter their email address and their username anymore. We consider this advanced training. And because it's advanced training, it's outside the scope of what we're doing here. It's just a little too techy and, quite frankly, boring. But it also gives me the opportunity to show you what these pop-in buttons look like. Pop-in buttons allow me to display an offer that you want to make, and this pop-in button that I'm going to give you is about a training on the PDF. It's a PDF document that we created to show you exactly how to use this custom registration hot link. So that should be appearing in on your screen shortly. The one thing to note is we get questions a lot about lag time, and there is buffering lag time due to this being streaming by Google. So the lag time for me just now was about 15 seconds. I can see when I clicked the button to add that offer, and now you should have seen a pop-up that says learn how to create one-click registration in your webinars. Someone has asked how to provide PDFs documents for your people on your webinars. This is exactly the way to do it. So take a look at that advanced training later. Go ahead and save that for yourself. It's going to open in a new tab for you. The last thing to know is analytics. Now, we have fairly good analytics on all the people that register. You see whether they registered, whether an individual registered, whether they've watched the replay, whether they've attended the webinar. But when you choose analytics, so let's go to the analytics of, well, I'll just go to the analytics of this one. Let's look at the analytics right now for the session that we're on. When you display analytics, and it's going to pop up here. It shows you, you can choose the session. There's only one session, but it looks to see if you have multiple sessions. And then we only have one session on this one, so it's going to pop open and show you an analytics screen. This is the last question that we get a lot on live events. So we see we've got a sign-up rate of 1,100 registrations. 300 people could attend live. That's fairly typical. You get a lot of registrations, not so many people can attend live. They register knowing that they can attend live. They do it so that they know that they can get their replay link. This is what people are missing. Download that full registrants list. So if we clicked that now, we would get a CSV, separated file that gives you all of the live attendees that are registered here. So that's it for the WebinarJam walkthrough. I'm going to go back to the presentation now. And to do this, I turn off my screen share so you can see me again. Again, I'm Donna Fox. I'm the head of the customer experience here at Marketing Genesis and WebinarJam. And we just went through the top issues that people are having in creating a webinar. I'm going to share my screen again to go back to the presentation. Let's go here. And now that the live demo is over, I want to show you what it looks like for me in the presentation room. And the reason we don't do this live is because it creates that mirror in a mirror image thing where you're doing a video of a video and you just get sort of an ugly screen of recurring images. So I moved to a screenshot to show you what it looks like on the inside of a WebinarJam. You see the picture, and that's me late last night. You see the picture that it looks like on the inside. Notice these boxes down here. It was me and Raul was on the call. I have a blue highlight around me. What that does is it fixes the viewer's experience on the camera that has the blue highlight. So if I wanted to change the camera that has the blue highlight, and I'll do it right now, I'm going to change to Doc Stone. Now you see Doc Stone. Now I had control of that, and it's clicked on him. If I, and Doc, if you want to unmute your mic so we can demonstrate this for a second. If it's,
I think I do have it on mute.
Oh, perfect.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so now I'm going to unclick. I have once, so I clicked on James, clicked on Doc Stone, and his screen is locked. If I unclick so that none of them have that blue outline, none of those icons have the blue outline, then what happens is it will pop back and forth between who's speaking. Isn't that right, Doc?
That's correct.
Yeah, see, notice the video just popped to Doc, and it'll pop back and forth between Doc and I the more we talk, right, Doc?
That's right, and not only that, I have the ability here, because you're going to be doing the presentation from yours, but I'm going to use what you're showing to me for the presentation, so you're going to actually do the slide, but on this end, I need to be able to be fixed upon that screen and not have it pop back and forth, and so even on this end as an admin, now as a super admin, I have the ability to fix which screen I want to see by using that blue thing, just in the same way.
And it's really important because you know how if you're team teaching or co-presenting, you get really excited and you both start talking at the same time. The video doesn't know what to do. It'll start flashing back and forth between the two people, and it creates a negative video experience. So you really want to make sure that you're locked if you can. And even when we're locked now, and we're back locked on my screen, Doc can talk, right, Doc?
That's correct.
Yeah, so we can hear him talk, and you can see his little icon at the bottom of your screen, but we're locked onto my screen. So that's going to give you a better video experience too. So there are a couple of things that I want you to notice about what the chat room looks like. Here's number one. There will be an icon that looks just like this on the side of your screen. That's the WebinarJam icon. When you click on that, if you ever lose your sidebar or lose the chat, can't get it back, just click on this button. This is your primary button that you're going to use to manage your webinar. Number two, up here, is the button that you need to share your screen. You click on that button and it moves to sharing your screen. I don't really use any of these other buttons that you see. I use button number one and button number two. Button number three, we're going to come back to in a second. Look over on the right before I get off of the screen and go on button number three. On the right, you have an opportunity to detach the sidebar. What that does is it moves the sidebar into a separate window, which allows you to do a really, really cool thing. So I'm going to do that right now. So I first need to unshare the screen and then share it again with this. So I can share my sidebar with you right here. If I shared the whole window with you, you'd get that ugly mirror-in-mirror image. So if you're talking with somebody and you want to show them something on WebinarJam, first detach the sidebar and it will pop out and then you'll be able to show it to them in the sidebar. So the thing that I want to show you is this pop-in. When I had created a pop-in offer to send you that advanced training PDF, that's right here, but you can also create a new offer on the fly, and I'm going to do that for you right now. It's really important for us that you get information and knowledge about everything that you want when it comes to WebinarJam. So even though we are greatly overloaded in our support desk right now, we certainly don't want you to not get your questions answered. And we have, I even brought on a technical writer yesterday whose entire job it is to create technical responses to some of your tough questions. So I'm going to create an offer right now for you. And I don't have an image for it. The message is, please submit your bug requests, bug reports, and feature requests. And I'll use the button, I'm interested. And here's the button link. This is our knowledge base. We are adding to this several articles every day based on your support questions, issues that you're having, challenges that you're facing. Where possible, for ideally every one of them becomes a new article in the knowledge base. The knowledge base is searchable, and you will be able to see it from your window. So there we go. I need to remove the other offer. So if you haven't gotten the PDF, you pretty much want to open that window right now because it needs to be removed. And then the next offer gets displayed. So I clicked on the offer displayed, and after a short delay, that offer gets displayed. And I don't see a button here, so hopefully you do. If not, I'll be submitting my own bug request on that one. There we go, there's the button. So you should see a button that says, I'm interested. The delay that you're experiencing is going to be different for every attendee. Some of them get a larger delay, some of them get a smaller one, and it's really based on what's happening with your internet connection at the time. So let's go back here. I see we're still getting lots and lots of questions coming in, and that's wonderful. Thanks. Keep them coming. We're going to try to get to as many of them as possible. I'm going to go back to the presentation now and show you this last little thing we have. we have button number 3, which are 3 little dots. When you click on the 3 little dots there, it's going to open up the Google Hangouts app store, just like the iPhone app store. There's a Google Hangouts app store, except most of the apps are free. There is one app that everyone asks about that I'm going to show you right now. If you click on that button, it will allow you to see a app called, and here it is, it will allow you to see an app called Hangout Toolbox. Hangout Toolbox is the app that we use to create the lower thirds in your presentation. So you install Hangout Toolbox, it then appears in that little bar on the left-hand side of your screen that we showed you, and you can add that lower thirds information right there. So that's a very frequently asked question that we're having, and that covers my list of frequently asked questions. I know Doc has got some things that he'd like to cover, so I'm going to go back to the presentation and introduce you to our trainer extraordinaire, Doc. Oh, I think I accidentally closed the presentation. See? This is what happens. Hang on one second. I hit the wrong button. We're going to get that presentation back. There we go. And now I can share the screen. All right. So, Doc, take it away.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. It's nice to be here. These are just some things that I've noticed that's really, really important. Make sure you do everything beforehand. It's really hard to change anything after you've gotten into the room. There's a few things, but it's so important to test. I think most of the problems that everybody's having is not knowing how to use the tool. Now, this is Google Hangout. It has WebinarJam on top of it. So you have an incredible number of options and things that we're still finding out about that Google's providing, and Google keeps coming out with stuff. And as well, we are making changes. This product is really, 90 days old at this point, and really only been out for a short period of time publicly. So anyway, very important. Get 2 computers. Get 2 panels open. If you're by yourself, then you need to do this on your own and test. If you have some friends, you need to get into a room like we are here with 4 of us, okay, and make sure that what the emails look like, what every screen looks like, make sure you know these tools. I think the biggest complaint is people are getting out there, they're having 1,000 people come in, and then they're having trouble, and they, unfortunately look like they don't know what they're doing, and that's not really the case. They just don't know. They're just not as familiar with the tools they need to be. Case in point, yesterday, all day, I think Raul, myself, and Donna were testing everything so that today this came off well. So yes, we're supposed to know everything there is to know, but we still have to go out and make sure that we have the tools. And it's not that we know how to use the tools. It's not just knowing how to use the tools. You're doing a webinar, you have other people in the room with you. Who's going to do this? Who's going to say what? Who's going to, talk first? Who's going to be the presenter? In this particular case, Donna's running the slides for me, okay? And it was just because she had some other slides, and so this is the only way you can do this. Only the super admin, not at all. I can share a screen here just as well as she can. But listen, if you have a webinar tomorrow, get somebody online with you and others online as admins, and make sure you know what you're doing, how you're going to present it, what it's going to look like. Make sure you have the other windows open so that you can see what the attendees look like. Go out and check out the registration screen. Make sure that, test it. Now, what's really cool about this system is that once you have this done, that first time, there's that little clone feature, which is awesome. So, especially if you're doing repeating ones all the time, first one that you do, you got it down, you've got it tested, everything's working very, very well, clone it, and then you're pretty well sure that you're not going to have any issues when you go off on the second time. So anyway, it's software, it's computers, you know, it's technology, anything can happen, and there's a lot of pieces to this. Make sure you know what you're doing beforehand so that you look as professional as you want to look, okay? So you've been warned. Now, one of the things that we've run into once in a while, I just wanted to mention this, is, and this isn't really anything in particular, browsers have their issues. Sometimes people have damage from a virus that they've gotten at some point or another, especially people with older computers. That's sometimes the issue. Sometimes it's security settings. Sometimes it's virus settings. There is a pop-up that comes up when you do a save, for instance, when you're creating your webinar. If you've got pop-ups blocked, that's a problem. The little detached sidebar pops up. If you've got pop-ups blocked, it's not going to work. So just be aware that this is a Google Hangout product, and guess what? Google Chrome works better for the most part. So it really isn't an issue for attendees. It's mostly for the super admins and admins. So just wanted to throw that out there. There's a lot of questions on browser issues because I can't get this to work, I can't get that to work. I will say this, if you have Internet Explorer and you're having troubles with it, it's mozilla.org. Go out and get Firefox and see if that works for you. Upgrade to Chrome, see if that works with you. Trying to troubleshoot a browser problem is almost impossible to try to do back and forth over a tech ticket. If you do have problems, we have some little short things to watch about clearing cookies and all that good stuff. Flushing DNS and all that are pretty clear and cover all of it. So please enter a ticket and we will get that to you as soon as we can. One thing too, I've been doing webinars now for about 4 years, anywhere from 3 to 5 a week, and been excited. I haven't had that much time with WebinarJam as I would have liked to, but I'm really excited about using this product. There's a lot of really cool features with it, as I'm sure a lot of you have already found out, and I'm still finding new ones. But one of the things, just very, very important, and your attendees don't know this. They're coming into a new room. This is the first time. Maybe they've never been on Google Hangout. Decide what your rules of conduct are, and maybe explain how to use that the webinar software and what they're seeing to them before starting. It's very important. And see that? Donna just knew exactly when. See, we practiced this, okay? And so when you're in that situation and you're going to be doing your webinar and you have other people in the room like this, like at this point, I don't know if you realized it, looks like I'm answering a zillion questions and I'm standing here talking to you. How am I doing that? Actually, we have Raul, who is Doc Stone today. Thank you, Raul. And we have Dave Honig, which is probably also logged underneath my name, and so when they're answering the questions out there, looks like it's coming from me, but so that you know. But that's important when we get into a room like this. If you have people that you work with, or at least your lead people that come to your webinars all the time kind of thing, if you do these for a while, make them admins, and it makes it very interactive, so somebody can feed questions to you, and in this particular case, maybe somebody runs the presentation for you, and maybe you even have an additional recording device. Now this is all being streamed and it's all going out to YouTube for you, and it's being put up there, and it's raw format, whatever mistakes you make and everything else, and you may or may not want to edit it. You might want to make it private, you might want to download it, you might want to do something like that, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. Okay, this is some of the things that you should be seeing, and this is one of the reasons why it's so important to test this and find out what these emails look like and what happens. This is the first one. If you have a presenter and you have your super admin and you have the link for it, but for another admin, and you can have up to 10 total, okay? So you can really have a good interactive experience with everybody online down at the bottom, like we're doing now. But this is the first email that's going to go out. They have to click on this, and then they're going to get the next email, okay? So this sets them up, and the next slide here will show you that you are confirmed and you have to log in as a moderator. So your admins are looking for this, okay? So I just wanted you to see one in case you hadn't gone out and tested this yourself to what and what to expect. Oh, we lost our slides. We can't hear you, Donna.
That was entirely me. See, this is what happens when you click the wrong button. I was trying to get back on the active screen to change the slide when you were ready, and I clicked the button to make it full screen, and all hell broke loose. Sorry, you're back.
No, well, all right. So yeah, we're okay. Now this is where you log in as the moderator presenter. Now, obviously, you're going to have to save this email as the other admin until it's time. The super admin has to start this to begin with, or you will not be able to get in. And we're talking about your other admins and the other people that are joining with you in your conversation. So after that super admin is started, then you'll click on this. Now, in our particular case for today, as an example, we got here this was at 10 a.m. This morning, and gosh, we've only almost been an hour, but we started at 9, and we all got in together and made sure that we were all in, everything was cool, and then when 10 came along, then obviously everybody was able to come in on this. So now this slide is an example of what not to do, and this great. This is one of the templates for your registration screen. Has a little video up there. This is was a little MP4 format, and it's that 254 codec. Anyway, there's a number of different formats that are supported, but watch the video that's right there to make sure that you get the right codec. If you have any problems, go look at the page, make sure it's going to play. But that's where your video will show up if you chose the right or the left. And like Donna was saying earlier, when you put in those titles and things where they show up here, you'll see Docs Universe up there on the top, and then register for this webinar, and in the middle, those are things that I wrote in. But if you type too much and you get too much in there, it will skew this whole thing, and you may end up saving it. Now, one of the other things that people are complaining about too is the graphic. The graphic needs to be about this shape. Doesn't necessarily need to be this size, but you want it to have a high enough resolution so that when it fills the entire screen, it doesn't look all grainy and messy. This is one of those things where this was a nice little thing that I put together. You know, I used a little tool and stuck the graphic on my TV. That's not really on the TV. That's something that you can do. But my face is over on the right, and I've just blocked my face. So you might have to edit this thing a little bit, is my point. You might have to mess around with the graphic that you're using in the background if this is one of the templates that you want to use, and adjust it to fit the screen. And it's just the way it is. So we'll
Can I jump in here for a second on this one?
Sure.
What we've noticed about this particular template is if you choose a landscape rectangle image, and the larger the image, the better for this particular one. If it's a very small image that won't expand to fit people's screen when they have a very large screen or high resolution screen, it's going to be an unsatisfactory experience when they look at the image. So the bigger image you have, the better, and rectangle in shape.
And thank you, Donna. And guess what, guys? This is, especially for your very first one, you have nobody registered, so you don't really have any kind of a list coming in, so you're going to have to use your own list and market it. But that's the very first screen they're going to see, and you always want to put that best face on. So very important screen is that registration screen. Not to mention, we've talked about tracking, and one of the very cool things about this particular system versus all the other systems that I've used up to this point is this marketing front end. If, as you notice, she was showing you some of the numbers for this thing today. We had maybe we have a little over 300 people that are in here, but over 1,270 actually registered. That means we picked up 1,270 names, okay? But we only had 300 people. I've been doing webinars for a long time. I send out all of these emails. I do all of this stuff. I can't wait to start using this myself because I've always had to send out my own emails, and I know a lot of you are probably in that same boat. I mean, I'm using, you know, Skype, I'm using Twitter, I'm using Facebook, I'm sending out, you know, through several different email systems, and I'm not capturing what you can capture with this system. So that's, to me, that's a very exciting feature on this. Okay, when your attendees register, this is the screen that they're going to see. Now they can schedule a reminder. You know, this is Outlook, it's Google Calendar, it works for the most part. I will tell you, I don't think there's anything wrong with these buttons. If there's anything wrong and they're not working for people, it's more than likely on their end. And I don't know what to tell you. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. You know, not everybody is all that tech savvy. So if it's not working for somebody in particular, you know, they'll have to put it on the calendar themselves manually. But you also have that feature when you're creating your webinar in order to have the reminders go out on a regular basis so that they'll get this link again even up to 5 or 10 minutes beforehand. And I recommend highly using that because it really does make a difference. I don't know about, you know, how many people here have actually done a lot of webinars, but if you do this a week in advance, you'll get a lot of people registered, but it's very, very important to have those reminders going out just beforehand because you'll absolutely increase the number of people that actually attend. So anyway, I just wanted you to see this screen. And this is the screen that they're going to see, and this is why you want to do a registration so that you capture this. If you just hold it and do a now kind of webinar, you're really not going to get the same kind of registration information that you would otherwise. So that's why it's so important to do the registration screen and schedule your webinar versus just doing something right now kind of thing. So this is what is going to do the registration and capture them. So now if it hasn't started broadcasting, this is what they'll see. So I just want to make sure you saw all these different screens. And actually, this screen is repeating once in a while, or cycling. And so once the thing is broadcasting, then they'll absolutely go in automatically, which is kind of cool. And you saw this today because I think about 290 people came in almost instantly. You're probably all sitting there watching that screen. Okay, let's move to a super admin. This is the person that starts the webinar. This is the screen that you're going to see. If this is your very first time, there's probably some software that's going to have to be installed from Google. Be careful with any kind of virus software that you have on and stuff. I have not seen any problems myself, period. But if you have any kind, if it asks you to install something, you need to install it. If not, you're going to have to go restart your browser and go back, or at least refresh the page so it'll ask you again because you have to install whatever Google wants to install. Okay, so once you and you will have to enter a name here. Yes, you already entered a name. How come it's not in? It's Google Hangout. You have to enter a name and then start your Hangout. That green button will become available. Now, one other thing about this screen is if for some reason your admins that you're inviting for some reason did not get an email, or they can't find it, or got stuck in spam, or who knows what, this is a place where you can enter their emails and they'll also get a request in order to come into the room. Once you've started it, though, this screen is gone, and so just keep that in mind. Now you can go back out, restart, and you'll get the screen again, and then do another invite if you have to. You can also go back into the system and use the email button and send out the admins at that point as well. Maybe you need to use a different email address or something like that, but just be aware of that.
One of the cool things about this screen doc is you can add, see it says add names, circles, or Gmail addresses. So you can have someone in your Google Plus account, you can have a group of people that you've put in a circle that are just to hang out. So you can create a Hangout and then invite that whole circle with just one addition using the screen. So it's pretty cool.
You know, that's a good point. Actually, I know, you know, as marketers out there, we're building our Twitter, we're building Facebook, we're building LinkedIn, and maybe you haven't put as much emphasis on Google Plus, but maybe you now will. Okay, just a couple of little things at this point. Adjust your room lighting. You might even have a background behind you. You know, one of the things that always bugs me is you go into some of these webinars and it looks like they're in a dungeon, or it's way too bright and it's distorted. Take the time beforehand, and like in this particular room, it's kind of weird. It looks very bright in here, but it's not. It's very dark. I have one light above me and there's several other lights, but it is kind of a function of your room. So pay attention to that. If you look scary, it doesn't help you. You need to look warm and inviting and human. So adjust your room lighting. Dress nice. I'm sorry, we all got dressed up today. I even took a shower, washed my hair, put a tie on and everything else, got this little suit on and everything else. Listen, you know, if you were going to go out, which I know this sounds silly, but if you're going to go out and stand in front of 1,000 people, perhaps, you know, this has happened to you and stuff. If you're going to go out on a stage someplace and stand and talk to 1,000 people, how would you dress? And why wouldn't you dress the same way here? So you don't have to be beautiful. You just have to look nice. So pay attention to that. Okay, there is a little thing out on the right. Display a sticky message. And you'll see that today. If you'll see out in the chat area, if you've got that over on your sidebar, it's admin notice. Ask a question to the presenters here. We'll try to cover as many questions as possible on the presentation. If not, we'll save them for next time. That's very important. You might put instructions. You might say, hey, we're all out on the chat. You know, there's a number of different messages you can put out there. And as you can see, you can put quite a long message in. But this is just giving them information as they come into the room. Listen, you can't change that much once you've started. So again, configure it beforehand. Okay, a couple of other things to mention. Over here on the right with those green arrows is the sticky message, and you can remove it and replace it real quick. You can almost do that on the fly. It's one of the few things you can change. The red arrow over there is very, very important. Don't forget to start your broadcast. This is what starts this streaming video. So you can all be in a room as admins and have a great conversation together, move back and forth and everything else, and not record it. Okay? But you don't start the recording until you actually broadcast. Attendees can't get in until you start the broadcast, but your admins can. Okay? So you could have a small group in a room like this for a small meeting, like a business meeting or something like that, and not even bother to record it if you don't want to. Okay, one other thing, this is streaming. Obviously, you can just log into your YouTube account and look for the last thing that got recorded. That's fine. But you also have this little thing that says links down here on the bottom corner that gives you your YouTube and your video embed codes. So. Let's see what else we got here. Kind of one of the things that goes along with the lighting, there is this little thing that says focus up there. Actually, if you click it and you bring it down, you have a number of different choices, and it's kind of cool because you can hold your cursor over each one of the options and see what you're going to look like. So if you're having a little trouble with your lighting, don't forget to mess with this a little bit so that you can make it brighter or like that. Like in this particular case, focus. If you have a very bad connection kind of a thing, if I move around a lot, it'll get blurry. So you have to kind of be still as much as you possibly can. but focus actually focuses in on just your face, and everything else gets blurry. So I mean, you know, but play around with those. Okay, this is one of our last ones in here, and then we'll get to questions and answers. I know you guys are anxious. Using Screenshare, we're hoping that every time we do one of these, we answer a bunch of questions that people have. So we really wanted to do this. Incredibly important because of all of the tickets that we have. We found that by coming out here, every single question that you guys have answered, probably 35 people have the same question. And so we're really, instead of getting 35 tickets, you know, in 2 minutes of answering a question, we've gotten rid of 35 tickets so that we could get caught up and give you the kind of support that we are proud to give. I don't know if you guys, well, you may have been around for a while. I've been with Mike Vilsaint for many years and known Donna for quite a few years. But this is one of the few companies that actually really supports their product, internet companies. So I'm really proud to be a part of this group, and today is an example of that. So I know we're behind a little bit, but we really are trying to get caught up as much as possible. And I think probably within the next couple of days we'll probably get there. Anyway, using Screenshare. And I think Donna pretty much showed this. Make sure you have opened what you want to share before you're broadcasting. If you have a PowerPoint presentation, there's a couple of different ways to go, or a pre-recorded video. Open it up in a window. Now, if you're using PowerPoint, I prefer to use PowerPoint. Yes, putting it in a PDF format like we have here and you're showing works just as well, and it uses a lot less resources. So that's one of those things that is not the way you want to go. There is a you have to put your PowerPoint in a slide mode and start your slide, but there's a choice in there to, if anybody needs something more specific than this, you can, open a ticket. But there's a choice in there to display the PowerPoint presentation in a window rather than full screen. And then you'll go ahead and start your slideshow. And then while you're in your slideshow, you can, I think it's what, Control left mouse, and it will do a red pointer for you, a laser pointer for you, and all you have to do is just advance the slides normally, but it has to be in a window. For some, and this is Screenshare is part of Google Hangout, and so it's not something that we wrote, and they must know this, but if you go in and you do a full screen share, you'll get a recursive window, and you probably already noticed that, so don't do that. Put it in a window, and when you go to the screen shift, choose the window. So this is one of those things, you need to have all of that open beforehand when you get into it, and you don't want to be scrambling trying to go, where did I do with that? It's not coming up. And remember, depending on your connection, and I know some of you have 30 megabit, high-speed internet connections and stuff. I don't. I live out in the country. I had choice over here as a microwave or DSL or something along those lines, and I've noticed while I'm in these things that a tremendous amount of resources works great, is devoted to Google Hangout, and I can barely use this machine for anything else. So I need to just concentrate and do this. So that's why it's very, very important to have all of this open beforehand. Okay. Lastly, your recordings are streamed directly to your YouTube account. So all you have to do when you're done, like I said, you saw that little link down there that showed you, but you can just log into your YouTube account. You have that choice of making it either public or private beforehand. I think it defaults to private at this point. That is a new feature. But once it's in your YouTube account, you can go into it, download it, edit it, do whatever you want to it at that particular point. You could even download it, edit it, and play around with it and do whatever you wanted to it. Put a front end on it, put a little music on it, add some things to it with Camtasia or whatever you want to do, and then re-upload it. It's in that same, this is the issue is your replays, because that's your replay. if you change it, you do anything else, it's going to be a new recording, isn't it? That's why there's one of those features in there for the replay to redirect them, okay, to whatever URL you want. So you have a lot of options and a lot of ability to play around with that. Alternatively, because I've been using other conference software for many years before this came about, and some of the quality on some of the recorders on some of the other software, and I'm not going to mention any names, was poor to, and I'm sure you guys all have been there. So I've actually been using Camtasia Recorder or Snagit, which actually I've recorded an entire hour-long, conference with it. But that's an alternative to it. It is being streamed out to YouTube. YouTube quality is very, very good, and the resolution is very, very good, as you all know. So awesome tool. Listen, I hope some of that helped a little bit. I want to really thank Donna for running that for me. So I think I'm going to turn this over to Donna. We're going to go into a question and answer period, and whoever can answer the question best, we'll do the best we can for as long as we can.
Okay, guys, we have lots of questions. We're not going to get to them all. Continue to submit them. If we don't get to them, go ahead and submit a support ticket to that link that should still, I think, be displayed on your screen right now. We, like I said, are extremely backlogged. For those of you that came in a little late to this presentation, I'm Donna Fox. They call me the Director of Awesomeness here. Basically, it's my job to make sure that your experience as a customer is a good one. And I know that we haven't been giving the level of quality that even we would like to give when it comes to customer support. We got 10,000 new customers in a 90-day period. For an average software company, that's 6 years of growth in 90 days. We were not prepared for the extreme amount of marketplace support. It surprised everyone in this office, the amount of marketplace support that we got. We brought in a number of new people. When we started, we had 2 people on support, really actually 1 and 2.5 people on support. We now have a team of 12 people. I'm planning on looking to hire more today to get them trained, to provide you with competent and, most importantly, swift customer service and support. So that's my promise to you. Please, we're doing our best. You can ask my fiance, who hasn't really seen me in the last couple of weeks because I've been working around the clock, just how hard we're working on this issue for you. There's a couple of questions, and one of them I'll just take is, will there be chat support or phone support? Yes, well, that is definitely part of our plan to have both. My ideal goal is to have round-the-clock, 24/7 tech support that's available for you when you're doing your webinars. I don't know when we're going to reach that goal. I hope to see it sometime within the next 90 days, as soon as we can settle down from this wave, this rush of support tickets that we've gotten, and really get into sort of proactive providing you with the best support we can and get some people trained, some new people trained. So here is a question about how, well, oh yeah, also, is this replay going to be available? Of course, this replay is going to be available. It's recorded, it's going to be available, and feel free to watch it over and over and over again. Here's a question. Can we have a VA be an admin or a co-presenter to help us with the chat box? Who wants to take this one? Doc, got this one?
Repeat that for me. Can you have a what?
Sure. Can you have a VA or a virtual assistant or some staff member to come on and be a co-presenter to help you with things like managing the chat box?
Oh, absolutely. I'm hoping that people are seeing that we're doing just exactly that, and I absolutely encourage it. You know, one of the things that's come up a number of times in the questions is people who want to have a very, very interactive experience. This is Google Hangout. It's streaming video. And so if you've come in late, you may not be caught up yet. So, and that's one of the awesome features about WebinarJam, that is capable of doing that. Even if you come in late, they're still going to see the same video, although they're not going to be as real time as everybody else. So you have that experience. So one of the ways to get around that is to do just that. Bring in admins. Well, you can have up to 9 people in addition to yourself, and have a conversation going on between 9 people. That's about as interactive as I think you could possibly get going on, and each one can be speaking at at whatever time and have a great conversation going on. But in there, you have 9 admins, and just like I think Dave and Raul are probably answering questions as fast as their fingers can type, and then you're actually doing the presentation, and you're actually taking the questions and then feeding them to us. So yes, absolutely, that's what we're doing here.
So that's great. Yeah, it's really, really hard and very distracting to have the chats coming in while you're trying to give a presentation. So it's very helpful to have somebody else there copying questions for you, really acting as, if you call into a radio show, there's a producer there that's taking in the questions and bringing it to the person that's actually doing the radio show. You want to really treat your Hangouts the same way. Have a VA come on and let them be your producer. Let them handle taking in the chat questions, responding to the ones that they can, and submitting the questions to you for you to be able to answer. There are also some questions about the chat box, because people have noticed that we've said chat questions are coming in, but they don't see it. It looks like the chat is public. We have our chat set to public, which is what makes it appear, but all messages that go out are private. Only messages that we send out are public ones. We do this because this is a training call, which means we want you to focus on the training, not what's going on in the chat room. If it were more of a social call, you might want the chat room going, or if we wanted more social proof, if we wanted to ask a question and get some responses, you can flip that chat room from public to private. So we can change it so that all the messages that go out are public messages and everyone sees them, and then you can change it back to private so that all the messages that people send are private. So currently it's set for private chat, so we can send public ones out to everyone, and when you submit a question, it comes to us and it comes to all of the people that are presenters or admins. They all get the ability to see that. It's a great way to handle questions. It also helps a little bit with the delay or the lag time that's experienced from some people, because the chat works with a different, it's not, the way the recordings work is that Google is compressing all of this video and then streaming it to you, and that takes a few seconds. And lag used to be a minute long, and it's down to under 30 seconds now. And we hope that at some point, and in some cases, it's almost instant. It's near instant.
Yeah, it will go to instant actually very soon.
Yeah, so the lag time issue is going to go away, but it is important to know that at this time, the chat doesn't have to go through the compression. So the chat is very real time. So it's hard to have an interactive conversation with somebody that's in the chat. But if you have a VA doing support like this, and you're getting questions, and you're managing it in a what I believe is to be a more professional, controlled environment, then that's going to work for you. And an attendee is never going to realize that there's any lag time at all, because their experience is we have a question from this person, and then we can let you know what that question is. So that's how interactivity really works well with WebinarJam. It may not be what you're used to. Because we're using the Google Hangout system, there's no ability to raise your hand or unmute your line or anything along those lines, but we get fairly decent interactivity in a training session like this just by using the chat box in a way that's supportive to your goals and not destructive to your goals by causing a distraction. So there are questions about pixel sizes. I know one of you knows about the pixel sizes on the original page, and I think it was 80 by 80, but let me show you.
It is 80 by 80.
80 by 80, yeah. Let me show you the place where we're talking about, the place where the issue is coming from. And I show you my WebinarJam screen. That's the live one. Here's the presentation. Desktop. I did it again. I closed out the screen that I wanted. All right. It's interesting because if it's minimized, not just closed, it was minimized and it didn't show up. So here we go. Here's the back office again, and the people are asking the question about specifically this page. So we're going to go to the page where in the beginning we are loading up people's pictures, people's photos on the general page. right here. This photo is best displayed if it's 80 by 80. If you put in a resolution that's different, especially if it's like 80 by 160, 80 pixels by 160, you're going to get a really squished picture because the system is going to force it square. So you want to put a square picture in there, and 80 by 80 is the ideal size for a picture in this place. The other thing to note is right now our design templates only let 2 pictures of people go out. So if you've got 3 or 4 people on the call like we do, only the first 2 are going to show up on the design templates. That's a feature request that we have, and at some point we'll have some more design templates that allow for a little flexibility. I think we'd probably like to see one that has all 10 presenters being able to put a picture up there, and that's in the works. All right, and next question is how to run a webinar without your picture. I know someone knows the answer to this about how to remove this film strip. I don't know it, so someone jump in.
So as the super admin, Donna, you could choose to hover over each of our pictures in the film strip and hit hide from broadcast, and that would achieve that.
Well, let's see. Let's hide you from the broadcast. There we go. So Dave's gone from the broadcast. So if you hide people from the broadcast, then that will do it. Another way to do it is to just start screen share before you start broadcasting. So if you're screen sharing to a PowerPoint and then you start the broadcast, they will never see your picture because you're screen sharing. Another thing to note, people have asked whether or not they can use WebinarJam to create an audio experience, a teleseminar instead of a webinar video. Primarily, this is video technology. I mean, it's really focused on video. It's YouTube. It's about video. So a video is created as a result of it. However, it does record the audio. So if you wanted to create a really nice graphic, maybe it has your picture on it, maybe it has a mind map on it that you want to train from, and put that as a share your screen with just that image, then that image will show up on the screen, that image will be over your video, but it in effect makes you record the audio, and then you can just strip the audio away from that video.
Let me add to that, because that just answered one of those questions this morning. And you're absolutely right. What she's saying is share your screen, put something up if you don't want to have your picture showing, and now it's a video. But if you're just looking for a pure MP3, there's AVS for you. It's $59 for the suite, worth it. There's all kinds of audio and video tools and converters, and you know, I will tell you, you're getting into doing webinars, and so video is now one of those things that you do. And for, like I said, don't buy just the individual tools if you're going to get the AVS. It's $59 for the entire suite. And once it's installed, you can actually right-click, and it will have an option there if you want to split out the MP3. So you just right-click on it, it brings up the program, and you click Go, and you end up with the video and the sound split off into 2 different files. And then you can use the audio editor later on to edit it to your heart's content. So that's what I would do.
All right. So the next question is, please touch a bit on the hybrid webinar. Watching Andy and Mike, I had the impression that there was a live intro to a pre-recorded video. Actually, you're completely wrong. Andy and Mike are just that good that they were doing it on the fly. We have a tremendous number of people that are on our support staff making sure that they look as good as they do. We've got, you know, a multi-thousands of dollar team that's with high-def cameras and fancy switching, and clearly you don't need that because we're not using any of that right now. I'm using my image is a Mac display, and it's the webcam that's attached to a Mac display. Nothing fancy here at all. We're all just using regular webcams from our laptops, our displays. When you see Andy and Mike, you've got some pretty high-def cameras, you've got fancy lighting, great big LED lights, and a Hollywood producer that's doing the switching there. So they're just on a whole different level than we are. They were actually live. But here's the thing about the pre-recorded videos that is a little chink in our armor right now. We've just rolled out this feature. And what happens with the pre-recorded videos, and you can set those up in the live area, how to do a pre-recorded video, it's in the live area, and then there's also a knowledge base article about pre-recorded videos. If you go to that support desk, you can read the knowledge base article. The thing about the pre-recorded videos is you can upload them, but they play within our WebinarJam. Think of WebinarJam as like a suit, a skin that you put over top of a Hangout. They play within our WebinarJam functionality. So your attendees see it, but it's not within the Google Hangouts functionality that we're leveraging, so that video part doesn't show on your replay. We're trying to figure out a workaround for this, but currently now if you're playing pre-recorded video, you're going to have to download your replay from YouTube, insert the video into the black screen that you'll actually see, and then re-upload it to have your replay. So we are working fast and furiously on a way to get around this because we know it's not an optimal experience for you, but that's the way that you can get around it now, and you should be able to get someone with video experience on someplace like Fiverr.com for $5 or $10 that would be able to do that for you. Truly, it would be an inexpensive fix for you to have that video into your recording now. And that, for those of you that don't know, is Fiverr.com. I think it's Fiverr, an extra R. And it's a marketplace of people that have great talents and abilities, and they're happy to do them for you for $5. So for $5, you can probably get somebody to input your pre-recorded video into the replay of the WebinarJam video. No problem at all. Oh, there's this wonderful note from Donna that says this training is eliminating my fears of creating my first webinar. Thank you so much. That's our goal. That's why we're here. I'm so, so glad that we were able to help you with that. So here's a question, and it's about Google Plus accounts. How do I configure a webinar to broadcast from a Google Plus page I have set up in my Google Plus account? I've signed into the Google Plus page. It broadcasts to my personal account, not my YouTube account. How does that all work? The whole integration between Google Plus, Gmail, YouTube. It can be a little bit confusing, so who wants to take this one?
I'll start at this point.
Okay.
It's not that simple. I will put it that way. So I'm actually going to ask that people who have that question and who are interested in doing that, so that their Google page or their personal page could actually display the video that's actually live video, as a matter of fact. So when it comes to your page, it will actually start playing, which you can actually do on your Google page, Google Plus page, but it's complicated, and there's no way I'm going to describe it here. Some gentleman, Adam, I don't remember his last name, put together an awesome little video that I have a link for. So if you will open up a ticket, you can direct it to me if you want to. I will send you that link, and he'll take you through it. It's crazy, but he figured it out, and it's like I said, it's not the simplest thing to do, but you can absolutely do that.
So there are some things to note about the way we work with G+ and Google and YouTube. You can have anyone be a super admin for one of your WebinarJam presentations. And when you do that, they use a Gmail or Google Plus linked account. So you start with a Gmail. You can create a brand new Gmail for every one of your webinars if you want to do that. And then every one of your webinars will go out on a brand new YouTube channel. So the easiest way to do it is start from scratch. Create a new Gmail which creates a new Google Plus account that will link to a YouTube account. And the very first time that you run a webinar, it will ask you to link to your YouTube account. It takes a couple of minutes, and this is why it's important to do a sample webinar first, or to open up your webinar room as much as an hour before you're ready to start broadcasting, so that you can do all these little things. So if you have a brand new Gmail account, it'll link you to a YouTube account, or it will help you create the YouTube account within YouTube, and then anytime you use that Gmail as super admin, the webinar will be posted on that YouTube account. So you could create a different one that acts as a buffer for you and put all of your emails and all of your recordings in one, and then download and upload them if you're operating in different niches and you don't want all those recordings on the same YouTube account. You really have a whole lot of flexibility here. But the easiest thing to do if you have some questions about the way they interact and the way they link together is start from scratch with a brand new one.
A lot of our users actually do that. They start with a brand new account. They test everything out. They make sure everything works the way they want. And actually, some of them are actually taking the videos from one YouTube account and move them wherever they want, because we didn't have the private feature until the last couple of days.
So
one thing to note about the Google account is that Google has you linked to so many things, and that's what's awesome about it. But you know, if you've been around for a while and you upset them with some Google AdWords account and who knows what, and you know, all of this stuff is all linked together. So, like you were just suggesting, it may or may not be a good idea to start over with a new Gmail account and put all of this in one place.
So I think we've got maybe time for another 2 or 3 questions. Someone asked me about I see someone commenting about my level of connectivity because I said I was getting some lag. There were about a half a dozen people in the office when we started, and we're all on computers, and there are several of us that are on this Hangout now, so it's a big strain on our bandwidth. So you do see kind of a little lag in the way my pages were refreshing as a result of that. We wouldn't see the same thing if we went to Raul right now because he's home, he's got decent internet, and he is, as far as I know, only operating one computer at this time. So it's really about how many people are using it. And because I'm at an office, for instance, the webinar that you saw with Andy and Mike that looked like it was pre-recorded, not only is it like, you know, super high-def snazzy stuff that's coming from our office, but we also are all forced to get off of our computers during those times. So, you know, work comes to a grinding halt when we're live and on air, or at least when Andy and Mike are live and on air. Work comes to a grinding halt around here, which helps with the bandwidth, with managing the bandwidth issue. Guys, do you see any other messages that we want to make sure we cover today? I don't know if I missed any in the process.
Well, I think one question we have to answer at this point is, when are we going to do this again?
I think next Friday, but maybe even sooner. Let us know, guys. Are you liking this? Is it a good training? Would you like to see it again, or like to see different training? We can start to delve deeper. I really don't like to cover the same things over and over and over again. So, you know, next week we can get a little bit deeper into some of these more technical things. But we are bringing in new people every day, and we will have this training available for them because I think it's been great. I don't know about you. Yeah,
it came off great. Well, that's fine. Next Friday then, and obviously we'll send out announcements, and we have all these questions here, and I know that we didn't get to everything, but we have them now, and so we've been collecting them, and we'll go through them and look through and split them all up. It may or may not be just a question and answer period. Next time when we're taking all the questions that we have today that we weren't able to answer, we'll figure that out.
All right. Want to say some final words, Doc, and then I'll go out to Dave and Ro?
I do want to say this. I've been using other conference software for many, many years. It's different. This software is very different. It has some awesome features. It has some ability to do some things that just the fact that we're all 4 in here like this. And I know for everyone else it's recorded. But with every software, they're all different. There is still some development. I mean, we're going to be working on this for a while. This is not done in any way, shape, or form. I had a talk with Mike, Phil Same, and he wanted everybody to get that message. We're not done. We just got started. So if you're concerned or worried about different features and things along those lines, or something's not done for you, put in a ticket. We're paying attention right now. We have obviously we had 12 people on staff just to answer questions at this point. We can barely keep up. But we also have a number of people devoted to getting the programming done, like Raul, like Dave, like name some other people later. But it's going to be an ongoing experience, and we just want this to be the most awesome product out there. You know, yes, you might have to modify the way that you've been doing things for the last 5 or 6 years, but I know that when you got started with that other conference software, you went through this same thing, okay? I will tell you, use it, practice with it. Get on with some other people and bring them in, and you're going to find, as you test things and you fool around, that this is actually a better platform than probably what you have been using. And it just takes a little while to understand it, get it in your head, and how you're going to do everything. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to how this is going to progress over the next couple of years. It's already awesome, and you know, some of the other cool things that are happening. I mean, one thing you probably don't realize, and Donna just touched on it with these quote unquote kind of plugins that are add-ons that you can put into it. This is wide open. Over the next few years, there could be just thousands of those, just like you have with WordPress and all of that. So this is really an exciting technology. You know, having Google in on it means it's going to be around for a really long time. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here today. Really, really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you next Friday. We will send out those announcements. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Dave and Raul, for answering all those questions out there. And
that was Dave's comment. I know he doesn't want to speak, but he's just going to add some applause. Raul, do you want to say anything before we go?
I just want to say that people should not be discouraged by any technical problems that they might have, and I really think they should try more. And if not, they can reach us to us, and we'll try to make everyone's experience as better as we can. And I'm pretty sure anyone can actually become a master in a couple of hours, and they can run a successful webinar and a successful business online with that.
Yep. Like anything, it just takes practice. You didn't get up and start running. You had to walk. Before you started walking, you had to start to crawl. You need to learn to take these steps.
It takes a lot of practice, but I can guarantee it's worth it.
All right. Everyone, thank you so much for spending your morning or evening, or we have customers from all around the world that have joined WebinarJam. We are happy to have you. We're working on those foreign languages. We're working on those foreign currencies. We're going to get it to you. Thank you for your patience. We are just going to keep getting better and better and better. If you think what you saw today was great, wait till you see us in a year. I'm Donna Fox, Director of Awesomeness for MarketingGenesis.com and WebinarJam. I'll see you next week.